Woohoo! Hey, everyone. I am Dr. Dream, and it is Monday, March the 9th, 2026. Time flies unless you're really watching it, and then, like water, it doesn't fly or water doesn't boil. All right. Anyway, it's an interesting day in Dr. Dream world. I'm normally a little more balanced than I am today. And I'm not used to this feeling. I'm cutting myself a lot of slack, but it's definitely like a completely different sort of thing for me right now. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Let's just flow with it and see what it's about. Of course, I have no idea what it's about. They say that this Mercury retrograde is not so much about communication as it is about what it's doing to all of our emotional bodies. Could be that. The Schumann frequencies, as I was just learning, are doing their thing, which has an impact on all of us. I was mildly rear-ended on Thursday outside of Fallon, Nevada. And while it's nothing that I should or could even complain about, I'm going to talk about it for a moment. It was unsettling. 300,000+ miles on the road on the tour of love, and we've gotten plenty of door dings and parking lots and stuff, but we've never had a contact with another vehicle. And certainly not someone hitting me at a construction zone where I was stopped, although I did have to slam on my brakes because the person in front of me slammed on theirs. But so just kind of feeling into all that, and again, cutting myself some slack. Also, as incredibly wonderful as the Quantum Wellness Recharge is, the distance healing program that we started at the beginning of this year, I'm realizing that the stories are very, very intense. And as much as I've always said nothing sticks to me, I think stuff is sticking to me. So this is all my stuff to look at. And it kind of plays into tonight's topic, which I'll get to in a moment. The background here, this is actually the Snake River in American Falls, where I live. So last week, it was the Sierra Mountains outside of Benton Hot Springs, where we were. The week before, it was the Pacific Ocean. So kind of just energetically taking you guys along wherever we go. It's interesting each week when I want to come up with a topic. And so much of it is related to what I'm experiencing. It's the best that I can do is to talk about stuff that's real for me. And the topic this week is holding your frequency when life gets messy. So as always, I did the same this week as I do many weeks, and I have my topic, our topic for this It's All Good Circle, be the same topic that I use for my blog Musings by Dr. Dream. So if you will be so kind as to allow me to share my musing, I think it gets my point across where I'm at. Holding your frequency when life gets messy. There is a beautiful idea that circulates through spiritual circles about raising our frequency. We talk about love, coherence, gratitude, alignment, and living in harmony with the quantum field. We talk about meditation and intention, healing, and the power of conscious awareness. And then life happens. Someone disappoints us, a relationship shifts unexpectedly, drama appears where we least expect it, a plan falls apart, someone gets rear-ended outside of Fallon, Nevada, the world around us seems increasingly chaotic and divided. Suddenly, the elegant ideas of consciousness and frequency are no longer abstract concepts, they become real-life practice. The question is no longer whether we understand frequency. The question becomes, can we hold our frequency when life gets messy? Life was never meant to be perfect. One of the biggest misunderstandings on the spiritual path is the belief that awareness somehow leads to a life free of challenges. You already know the answer, but let me just share it with you. It does not mean that. In many ways, awareness simply allows us to see life more clearly. We notice the dynamics in relationships more easily. We become more sensitive to energy. We become more aware of where things are aligned and where they are not. Challenges are not signs that something is wrong. They are part of the unfolding experience of being human, no matter how much we want to get away from certain aspects of that experience. The difference is that once we become conscious, we are no longer simply reacting to life. We are participating in it with awareness. Your frequency is your true power. Every thought carries a frequency. Every emotion carries a frequency. Every intention carries a frequency. When life becomes chaotic or difficult, it's very easy to allow the external situation to determine our internal state. Anger rises, frustration builds. We want to defend ourselves. We want to be right. We want others to see the situation the way we see it. I bet this sounds familiar to all of us. But the moment we allow those reactions to dominate our inner world, we have unintentionally handed our power over to the situation itself. Holding your frequency means remembering something incredibly important. You still get to choose your energy, no matter what is happening around you. Reaction versus response. There's a powerful distinction that can transform almost every difficult situation. The difference between reaction and response. Reaction is automatic. Reaction is emotional momentum. Reaction is the nervous system trying to protect itself. Reaction often leads to words or actions that we later wish we had handled differently. Response, on the other hand, comes from awareness. Response happens when we pause long enough to notice what is happening inside of us. Instead of immediately reacting, we take a breath. We observe. We become conscious of our emotions rather than being driven by them. And in that moment of awareness, something extraordinary happens. We regain our power to choose. Boundaries are not a low frequency. Another common misunderstanding in spiritual communities is the belief that being high frequency means endlessly tolerating everything that comes our way. It does not. Healthy boundaries are not a sign of anger or judgment. They are signs of clarity and self-respect. Holding your frequency sometimes means making decisions that protect your peace. It may mean stepping away from unnecessary drama. It may mean saying no to situations that do not feel aligned. It may mean disengaging from conversations that are fueled by conflict rather than understanding. Boundaries can be set without hostility. They can be set quietly, calmly, and with compassion. But they are still important because protecting your energy is one of the most powerful ways you can remain in alignment with your own frequency. Challenges often carry the lesson. One of the most interesting things about life is that the moments that we feel the most difficult in the present often become the moments that shape us in the most meaningful ways. That's powerful. A challenging conversation may clarify what we truly value. A broken relationship may open the door to deeper self-understanding. A disappointment may redirect us towards something far more aligned with our path. At the time, these experiences can feel confusing or painful. But when we step back and view life through a wider lens, we often begin to see the challenges are not punishments. They are invitations, invitations to grow, invitations to release something that no longer fits, invitations to step more fully into our authentic voice. Returning to center. Holding your frequency does not mean you never get knocked off balance. Believe me, everyone does. The difference is that conscious individuals learn how to return to center more quickly. Simple practices can help us reconnect with ourselves. Taking a walk in nature, breathing slowly and intentionally, listening to sound or frequency that calms the nervous system, practicing gratitude, stepping away from the noise of the world long enough to remember what truly matters. Each time we return to center, we strengthen our ability to remain steady in the midst of life's unpredictability. And over time, something remarkable happens. The storms of life may still arrive, but they no longer shake us the way they once did. Our roots grow deeper, our awareness grows stronger, our presence becomes more grounded. Now, the real work of conscious living. Holding your frequency when life is peaceful, that's easy. Holding your frequency when life gets messy is the real practice. It's where awareness becomes embodied. It's where compassion becomes real. It's where wisdom begins to grow. Because ultimately, the world does not need more people who talk about consciousness. The world needs people who live it, even when circumstances are challenging, especially when circumstances are challenging. And when we learn to hold our frequency in the midst of those moments, we begin to discover something powerful. Life may still be unpredictable, but our center becomes unshakable. And from that place of inner stability, we're able to bring something beautiful into the world. Clarity, presence, and a reminder to others that even when life gets messy, it is still possible to live with awareness, grace, and love. That was my writing this week. And as most of my writings are, they are for me to listen very closely to and follow. They rarely come from a place of, oh, I've got this wired, because that's not the way that it is. So that's our topic tonight. And I think it's exciting. Now, Phil has had to go do some stuff and he'll be back. So we're going to jump right over
I'm back.
Oh, there. See, I can't see everything that's going on. I had no idea. So, Phil, are you ready to take the theoretical, the whatever? You ready to run with this?
I am. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Go for it.
So, as you talk about that, it's very interesting because as I look at becoming the spectator, I started to envision, so as the spectator, I'm the producer of the movie. Okay. And as the producer of the movie, wouldn't it be a really good idea to kind of have an idea of how the set plays out before I act it? And so it's really a practice of not being, we all have triggers, and and when I say we all, I know myself and Dr. Dream do. And when we get into those situations, it's a matter of really being careful about how we react to certain things. I personally have an employee at my business that is really, really good at what he does, but he can be really negative. And, one of my triggers in the past, and I think God put him there as a lesson to me to figure out how I do not respond to that. Because too many years and there are times in the past I would be triggered and then it would kind of like tumble downhill. We'd get in the elevator and we'd go down really quickly. um, and and then feel terrible. I'd feel terrible about it, and so then it's like, well, why go on that roller coaster? Um, and so I'm gradually learning how to sort of intercept my trigger and just go, no, I'm not going there. I'm not doing it. Um, and so that's been an important lesson. Now, this whole emotional thing that we get into, that's a really another necessary part of who we are, is figuring how to contain our emotions and allow them to come in, embrace them, let them go, and be okay with things. And um, you know, myself and Dr. Dream, when we first met, we were going through some different things together, and it was all perfect because we needed to do that. We needed to move through that part of our lives, and we were kind of the protectors. We were out there, letting loose, and it was all good for the purpose of the time. And then we both kind of came to the realization that, yeah, that's, we can call it ego, we can call it whatever that gets us, worked up and responding. And sometimes, as I'll put it for myself, considering myself to be so smart, that I'm gonna show people how smart I am, and I'm gonna do some reacting and put it out there. Um, and then later on, I went, yeah, this is kind of dumb. Um, I don't need to be doing that. And I think, Dr. Dream, you came to that same conclusion, that you know, as as necessary as it seemed to be at the time, and I'm not saying it wasn't. Um, we evolved through that, and I personally think we both became better for it, for going through it. Um, and we actually became friends of it, and had that would not occurred, we wouldn't know each other. Um, we probably wouldn't. I don't know. Um, it may have evolved later, but at that time, it happened, and we both engaged and then disengaged, and it is what it is. Um, yeah, I so many of the things that we go through, there's a purpose, and sometimes I look at things and I go, okay, so I needed to learn that. Um, and I don't know that I've fully, well, yeah, I do know I'm not fully graduated yet. Um, I can't call myself a perfectly calm, serene individual. I still have these 3 a.m. moments. My cortisol gets in the way and says, we're going to wake up at 3 o'clock and we're going to tell you everything that you didn't do the day before. Um, and and then I tell it to shut up. I'm going back to sleep. Um, but no, it so many of the things that we're doing and that we're working through and that we're all doing here together have a purpose. And my goal individually is to just become a better individual, in that being that leader that shows people the calm in the storm, and can adjust to the environment and be a better person for it. So there, thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Hey, we did meet in an interesting time, and I felt we both allowed ourselves to be at the kind of the lowest common denominator, and it served us. It must have, because that's what we were doing. And then we've raised ourselves together out of that. Now, some people, someone raises themselves out of the muck and the mire, and the other person doesn't want to do it, and they don't remain friends because the energies aren't in alignment. And so it is fascinating how that's happened for us. You are one of those people that I reach out to when I get severely triggered. And I will call and say, you won't believe what happened. And what I know is that you're not going to say, oh, that's terrible, and feed that part of me. What I know, and this is what makes you a dear friend of mine, is that you're going to show me a higher place to land. And it means a lot to me.
We do that for each other.
Yes, that's nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Wow. This is good. I need this week, folks. I really do. So bring it. Destiny, let's have you on. Destiny did not have her baby today. I'm just letting everyone know. But Destiny, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here. You might be wondering why he said that. I've been feeling lots of feelings like my body's getting ready, but we're not quite there yet. Could be any time though. But on the topic, I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, so I'm going to be a little brief today. Um, but I would say that choosing what thoughts to entertain and choosing where to let my thoughts go has a whole lot to do with how I navigate my emotions and my frequency. Um, all kinds of thoughts pop up all the time. Some of them are just downright scary. I'm like, why would that even pop into my head? That doesn't belong there at all. But for me, it's about not entertaining it and just deciding to go a whole different way with whatever I'm thinking about. And I do like to entertain thoughts sometimes and hear new ideas and try to see if it fits in with my circuit. But I find that my thoughts are the least productive and the most uncomfortable when I shift away from gratitude. Gratitude is the frequency that keeps me the most joyful in life and the place where I want to be. And it's it's just such a powerful tool because you can not like the way that somebody's being or the way that they are or whatever, but then you can have gratitude that they are who they are and maybe even that they're not you. And just feel appreciation for the conflict and the whatever it is, I guess, at the time. So that's um where I like to stay. That's my main frequency is gratitude.
Well, you can't go wrong with gratitude. And based on the feels of your body today, I probably should have had you go before Phil, but thank goodness you didn't start to have the baby during your talk there. We all appreciate that. Um, oh my goodness. Okay. I'm going to be an uncle again soon. All right. So, Sylvie, I'm calling on you, sweetheart.
Okay. Wow, what a scene. And what comes up, I just pick up the trigger moment because this is something what gets me. It's like when I'm triggered to something in communication, whatever, I train myself more to pause, to breathe. And I like to act instead of reacting. For me, it's absolutely a different dynamic, as you, Dr. Dream, even said in the introduction of this scene today. And what I do sometimes is that I just go out of the situation, that I have the option to reflect on it before I say or act or react. React for me would be the worst thing to do, because then I think it can become really worse, and it can lead us to probably words we never would say normally, just by being triggered. And for me, this is something what I don't want to do. I don't want to hurt anyone, even if I'm triggered, but that's my trigger. It's not the trigger of the other person. And for me, it's really important to see this clearly and to have it by myself and leave it by myself. But I think it's, for me, a really good thing to release the triggers as soon as I can figure out, there is the trigger. And I really resonate totally even with what Destiny said, is to stay in gratitude and being grateful for that this trigger showed up, that I have a chance to work on it, that I have a chance to really heal this. Mostly it's a wound we experienced, and I experienced as I was younger, often as child, and we carry a lot of stuff. And it's every time unbelievable. As I mentioned so many times, I feel like I'm this onion and I have to shed peel by peel by peel. And even a trigger can come along in so many different phases. And oh my gosh. But the tool what I mostly use is really to pause a moment, to breathe, to have the space to look at it, and then action instead of reaction. What every time is, as I said, the worst thing to do. And really to be in gratitude for the teaching who comes along with this, because nothing is happened by accident, even not a conversation or that triggers are popping up. It's every time a teaching. It's every time a wonderful teaching for me. And there is this deep, deep thing to be grateful for, that it shows up, that I can grow, and that I can, coming more close to the better version of who I am. Yeah, that's so far.
Thank you, Sylvie. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you sharing. Gail, how are you? Are you there? You must be there.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. So why do we have the difficulty sometimes of the chaos in our life and not being able to hold our frequencies? So we're more susceptible to the things that are happening around us and our own thoughts, our own the wounds that come up, what our subconscious does, what the collective is doing, even if we're not connected, like we're not on Wi-Fi, we're not on the phone, we're not on the news, we're not on TV, we're not watching movies. Even if we're sitting in the woods by ourselves, we are still susceptible to thoughts that the collective, and that's everybody's subconscious and higher selves, and we feel that energy, and when there is a massive outrage or grief or joy, all of which have been measured and recorded and done. There were scientific experiments that were done. Joy about when Princess Di and Charles got married. Tons of us were excited and happy, and fairy tale romance and all that. We didn't know that it wasn't quite like what we thought, but there were lots of us watching. There were lots of us that were watching what happened in New York on 9/11. There were lots of us that were thinking about and concerned about when the clocks turned from 1999 to 2000. And so all of those things get into the collective, including old scripts and old habits. And so that allows us to have thoughts roll up out of the soupy stuff that we are. And we don't even know, where did that thought come from? I would never do that. But somebody has. And maybe if you're on the reincarnation wheel and that's how you believe life occurs, then maybe some version of you did whatever that thing is. And so now all this stuff is coming up, and our job is to look at it and kind of look at it like it's, oh, wow, ew, or wow, how wonderful. This wonderful thing we want to keep. And this, well, it's part of us, or we resonate with it, whatever this is. And we want to look at it and go, I don't really want that. I want to let that go. And some part of us kind of comes unwound. Every time we have anything that's traumatic or sad or grief-stricken, we brace our bodies. And we hold that braced position long enough. You look at the people that look like this. This is how they work, right? Their shoulders are up, their necks are forward, and they're always tense. And after 4 to 6 months of doing that, those things become hardwired and those muscles get rock hard and the joints get out of alignment. And this is what we call writing it into the body. And so what's coming up now is the stuff for us to release. And as destiny releases something, that release flows out into the universe and the collective. And I feel that release. And I don't necessarily know why, but maybe I'm more relaxed. And so because she's more relaxed, then I kind of calm down and I'm more relaxed. And then because I'm more relaxed, Regina's more relaxed. And it spreads like that. It propagates. Can we start it ourselves? Sure. If we're conscious and we go, you know what, that thought of what is happening in a big city somewhere east of me, I don't like what they're doing. And so I want to I want my world, I want my future and my world to look better and different by my definitions. And so I make more of an effort to be kind to the lady in the grocery store, to wave somebody into traffic, when they've been sitting there waiting to turn left forever, and to, help people out, just one little tiny thing after another. And as we all do these little tiny things, that propagates and the world becomes an easier place to live in. Is it ever going to be perfect? No. We didn't come to this planet to have it be perfect, to have it be always good and always easy. This is graduate school. And it's supposed to be tough because we're the best of the best. And we want to be even better. If we wanted it to be easy, then we would be on one of the worlds somewhere across the galaxy where it's a smaller world, it's a simpler world. And there are more sort of guidelines and rules and things like that. So are we more susceptible to these thoughts as the collective gets up in angst? Yes, we can be. And when we do, the best thing for us to do is just kind of sit back and decide, well, I'm angry now. Why am I angry? I was just driving down the road. I don't listen to the radio. I don't have a radio that works. I'm not listening to YouTube anymore while I drive. Why am I angry? And so then I get to decide, am I angry because I'm having to drive through rush hour traffic, or am I angry because something in the collective has been whipped into a frenzy? So if they're whipped into a frenzy, I get to decide whether or not I let their chaos make my life chaotic. And if I can recognize that, there was some news today and it caused a lot of chaos in the news and on the East Coast, then I can decide, oh, today I don't care. I will be as good as I can, and I will do what I need to do with my life. And that helps me put distance between me and that frenzied thing. And as I do that, my body calms down, and I am less susceptible to the whims of the collective that are being pulled back and forth by whatever's happening in whatever country you live in. I know that I am building a life that has less chaos, both in the life, what I'm doing, my space, the people I have around me, and I'm postmenopausal, so those hormones they're not as chaotic either. So how do I hold my frequency when life gets messy? I'm a withdrawer. I stop watching television and I watch light, fluffy, nothing, or read, or draw, or paint, or walk in the woods. And if I can find a cat or a dog to sit in my lap, even better. And I withdraw from the chaos because I don't need it anymore. I don't need that adrenaline rush. I don't need those muscles that are bound up. And those things are not going to take me where I want to go. And so a lot of it is, am I more invested in where I want to go personally or in the chaos that's happening around me and the people that are trying to drag me into that chaos? Which one am I more invested in? And I get to choose.
Thank you, Gail. Choice, so incredibly powerful. I'm going to move on to Regina. Regina's been with us once before. Regina is a friend of mine from over 2 decades now. Regina, go ahead, dear.
Well, it's pretty late for me where I am in Florida. So this is the first time that I've been awake and aware in time to join the group. So I think that's a that's a plus for me. So I don't remember what the topic is for today.
The topic is holding your frequency when life gets messy.
And my first response to that topic is that I don't know whether it's because I'm retired and I'm 85 years old, whether it's because I'm renting a room in Florida, I'm acting like a snowbird right now. I don't know, but I, my experience of my life recently is that it doesn't get messy. I guess I don't hold that possibility or concept. Now, let me share this much. I gave up my home in Colorado in August and started heading east. When I landed in Maryland with my son in late August, early September, I guess it was, there was a crisis. I totally was not prepared for it. I thought this was my exit. I'm gone. I'm leaving. Bye. And yet each day went on and I kept doing and moving what I thought was forward. And eventually I got to the point where I said, hey, I can't stay here. If I'm going to finish what I thought my trip was about, I got to get on the road. And so I headed south, made some stops along the way. And now I'm in Melbourne, Florida, which is, I don't know where you call it. It's south of the Space Coast of the Canaveral stuff. So I guess when I had that situation in Maryland, that one I guess would have been considered chaotic because I really thought it was time for me to go. I was done. And then as I kept getting stronger, I thought, well, I guess my soul either hasn't done something that it's agreed to do here, or it needs to learn something that it hasn't learned here. So I guess I'm still here. I'm going to be here for a little while longer. And then I had another crisis after I got into Florida and was staying at a place near where my brother is. And I thought, okay, but I didn't ever think of these bumps, I guess I'll call them in the road, as chaotic. It just felt like, okay, the flow is going to take me here for me to learn something or do something that I haven't yet learned or done and move on to the next. And so they wanted to do surgery and put pins in my leg. I guess it's been 2 months ago now. And I looked at the MRI. I talked to my brother. I talked to my sister. I talked to my son. They all said, yeah, you got to do this surgery or else it could be really bad. And I thought about it and prayed about it and did my stuff about it. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. And I had all my reasons for not agreeing with the doctors. And here I am, supposedly doing fine. But I've never had, it's been a long time. I don't know if I've ever thought of life as being chaotic. It's always seemed to flow in exactly the perfect way. And I guess I consider myself fortunate that my life has been, that I have been able to manage events so that they just all turn out all right. It's just, I don't understand it. After all these years, and after I did my shaman training, I did an intensive shaman course 2 years ago. That totally shifted my whole orientation to my life, to the universe in general. I went, oh, this is what it's about. Oh, that's really simple and really easy. If I stay here longer, that's okay. If I don't stay here longer, that's okay too. Bring it on, whatever it is. So I don't quite understand how I would respond to a question of what's chaos. Now, Mark, when you and I had a connection way back when, it seems, I guess if I think back on that time, but I wouldn't have called them chaos. It was just they were in transition. And so I don't know what it would look like to be considered chaos. maybe somebody can help me with that.
I thank you so much for being on tonight's It's All Good Circle. You came into my life at a time that I needed that perspective that you still carry today, that is even more deeply rooted than it was back then. And it is very inspiring for me to hear the words that you just said, however many years later. And don't fool yourself that we had a connection. We've never lost our connection, my dear, and we never will. You are an incredibly special person, and thank you for being here. And the stories about your life and I mean, I got a lot of stories from you, and you have led a blessed life, but I think a lot of it is the choice of you choosing to see it that way and experience it that way and assimilate it that way. And that is inspirational. And thank you very much.
Oh, I'm so grateful to be still connected and following your journey as you go. And I want to share something really quickly. I connected with a group of people in Florida, shaman group, a spiritualist group, but they're those kind of people in this area. And I went to a meeting, and they were the people there were giving relaying communications to some of the people in the audience. And she came over to me, and I went, "Oh no!" I thought, "Okay, what's it going to be this time?" But one of the really, what do I say? Not gratifying. One of the confirming things she said to me. Well, she said, "Well, the message to me was that I have been doing exactly what I came here to do." She said, "And you've made a couple of mistakes." And I'm thinking to myself, when she says that, oh, and I can tell you at least what two of them were. And so maybe I've made a couple more, but I went, okay, that confirmed to me that it was really a message for me, because it was right on. I said, yeah, I haven't understand why I've been doing what I've been doing and choosing what I've been doing. And I know this and this choice that I made along the way were clearly mistakes. And she confirmed that. And I went, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, you are amazing being in my life, and I'm tickled to have you here tonight. And you're as lovely as ever, my dear, and you look great. So thank you so much. Moving right along, how about Susie? All these people I love so much. This is so freaking cool. I really get a kick out of this. We should do this every week. Susie?
Yes. So somebody said once, and this was after I'd done a whole lot of work, it's don't ever waste a good trigger. And what that means to me is that when I'm triggered, it's a gift, because it's showing me where there's some misalignment. And it's like this pendulum that swings back and forth. And right now I see the media, the opinions about certain things is like way over here, and it's like it's like, but change is like that. It's like it goes way over here, and it gets the attention and the awareness and the all of that is good to express all of that, but then it gets distorted and it gets unclear, and then they start dragging everybody else into it, thinking that everybody should have the same opinion. And it's like, whoa, you're getting way over here. Then it swings way over here. And so I have conversations with myself about that. And I think about, well, how would Jesus, what would he do about this? Or how would Buddha, how would he react? And it's like, there's certain things, it's like, yes, there are boundaries, and there are things that are unacceptable behavior. And it's good to bring awareness and bring that to light, because it's the light that's going to, make the change. But it gets it when it starts going too far, then it gets distorted, and then the clarity gets muddy, and then people they become part of the collective problem. And so there's this middle place. And so I'll sit with something. If somebody or if I get triggered by something I see in the news or see online or something, I'll sit with it and see where I choose to not react publicly to things that I see people think that everybody should be reacting publicly to. And I don't agree with that. And it doesn't mean that I don't care or that I'm not thinking, have deep thoughts about what's going on. It's just that I'm choosing to keep my equilibrium and really look in my heart to stay balanced, because it's too easy to just get lost over here on one side with everybody, because you can get lost in all of that, and then it becomes just this collective mess. And I don't want to do that. And so I think that there is a middle ground, and it's like, yes, awareness of bringing awareness to things that need to be in the eye of awareness is a good thing. But then it can get really muddy after that, and I don't want to, I don't want to participate. And because I don't publicly participate, people may have, ideas about that, or that, people's, somebody over here, they should be saying something about that. They should say something about that. And it's like, why? It's like, not everybody has to have a public opinion that is dragged through the media, the collective yuck. It doesn't have to be that way. And I think catalysts are good. They're, it's like whatever is out there and is acting as a catalyst it's never, it's like whatever is bothering me about that, it's never what it seems. It's like it's always something else that is triggering me from some other place. And so I look at all of that. I look at a trigger, what triggers me, and I look at where in me, where am I misaligned, where I'm not in agreement with this public opinion over here. And so I'm always, looking at what would an eagle, the eagle perspective, a much higher view, the better version of ourselves. It's like, I'm not saying don't have boundaries. I'm not saying don't have opinions. I am saying that, and that it's just that it goes too far. But I think that's what change does. It's like a pendulum, and it goes way over here, and then it goes way over here, and both these places are way out of alignment. And then eventually people just run out of steam, and then it comes back to a better balanced place where there's some clarity around whatever the topic is, and solutions come out of clarity and calmness, not out of the reactionary places that people go to. I think those knee-jerk reactions are never going to result in a peaceful resolution about anything, so I think it's good to take a breath, think about what it is, and think about how you want to respond, not react. And stepping back, not getting involved, it does not mean I don't care. It just means that I'm going to just watch this thing. I'm just going to watch that pendulum and watch it do the times of change. It's going to go back and forth because that's what change does. It gets very distorted, and then it it settles down, and people get uh, better balanced about how they can solve whatever it is that's happening. Yeah. And then I asked my cat, what do you think, Bijou?
And your cat says, I think you should feed me.
Yeah, I know. Yelling at me.
Susie, thank you. You're one of the people that I go to get feedback. I probably should go to you before I do some of the actions that I do, but I always go to you after. And what I particularly love and appreciate about you, on a list of things that I love and appreciate about you, is your ability to not be a yes person for me. I don't need yes people around me. I need people that reflect back authenticity and honesty and well thought out everything, and as you just did. So I thank you for that. And we're going to jump right over to Victoria and Brian, or Victoria and then Brian, or Victoria and no Brian. I don't know how you guys are, what you're going to do, but you're up.
Okay. Did you do the
Yeah.
audio? Okay. Well, I've been thinking about this topic a lot lately for a lot of reasons, and it's great timing for me. So there were a couple of things that you said in your musing that I really liked. There was the reaction versus response, and I need to work on that a lot. I'm getting better as I get older and a little more mellow. I've been a very reactive, emotional person in my younger years, and I'm getting better. There's a lot of wisdom on this call tonight, and I'm appreciating the wisdom from all of you to draw on in future situations. But that one of response versus reaction, that one is hard for me, and I definitely need to get better at that. And I also really liked the point that you made in your musing about about viewing, kind of reframing the trigger or the stimulus as a challenge or an invitation, viewing it as an invitation for change and growth versus just a trigger of the moment. I think there's a whole lot of wisdom in that. I mean, what is it about the situation or whatever happened that triggered me as much as it did? I mean, what is it that I need to work on? It's obviously bringing something up that is not aligned in me and could be, should be. So working on that. And I guess also seeing a trigger or what I would have typically had a reaction to as a holistic experience, meaning there are so many layers of it for me. I mean, seeing the mental reaction, the psychological reaction, the spiritual reaction, and the physical reaction. I mean, it's all there in situations that really trigger you. And I guess knowing yourself well enough to know what you can access the easiest to get a handle on the situation and kind of calm down. For me, I tend to look at things from a neuroscience perspective because that's my academic background. But I try to find ways to get out of sympathetic dominance into parasympathetic dominance. I mean, if I can do that, if I can get out of fight or flight and get into rest and calm and peace, then I can sort through everything so much better. Um, so one of the first things I'm feeling like I need to do better is to identify those ways to change my physiology, because it does make a big difference. I mean, not to say that the mental aspect, psychological, emotional, spiritual, all of that matters. And we all need to find our solutions that work the best for us. But historically, for me, it's calming my physiology. And I've got a long history of exercise science, exercise competitively. And I think you can overdo that, though. I think you can overdo the exercise to the point that it becomes another stressor. And I've done that, where it actually makes things worse instead of better. So, like you and some other folks have mentioned, of going for a walk. I mean, that's movement, and I guess you could view it as exercise, but it's calming and it's peaceful, especially if you're in nature. So that's a way to calm physiology versus rev it up even more. And 30 years ago, I used to go beat myself up in the gym when I was really upset about something 30 or 40 years ago. And it took me a while to figure out that that was not helping. It was actually making the situation worse. So, so anyway, I'm learning and I'm getting better at it. Prayer is a good one for me, is a good way to calm things down and to get out to change my physiology. Um, like you mentioned, deep breathing is really helpful for me. And now that we're EE system owners, going and sitting in our chamber if it is accessible to us, I mean, as Dr. Dream, and probably a lot of folks on the call know, that technology is amazing for getting you out of sympathetic into parasympathetic. And I mean, it's amazing what I can figure out if I can just go sit in that chamber. Um, you know, it's it's hugely effective. So I'd like to be able to do that more. But I guess that's probably most of what I had to say. What about you?
I don't really have much to add right now, but
You don't have much to add?
I mean,
Okay.
I feel like I'm I'm a lot more chill than she is, so I, I I have a tendency to not really. I mean, I do get wound pretty tight sometimes, but I have found in the last 2 or 3 years has been a quite the journey for me to learn how to not let things really get me upset and upset my frequency. And a lot of that came from the whole reason we even have an EE system is because I had was diagnosed with a inoperable eye disorder and lost the vision in my left eye. And anyway, long story short, after 13 occurrences, I was healed through the technology, and that's what made us do this system and build this center and try to share it with others. But the whole reason I had the occurrences was because of stress. And so that
Getting triggered.
the trigger was stress. It was high level stress. And so I really had to change my attitude about every single aspect of my life and how I reacted to it. And I have noticed it's dramatically changed how I look at literally everything that comes my way. If there's something a lot of people think I have a high stress job, and sometimes maybe I do and I don't, but I really just don't let anything bother me anymore because it's just not worth losing my eyesight over, first of all. But it's just so much healthier for me to just let it go and not let it affect me and kind of give it the 100-year test. Is it really going to matter in 100 years? So yeah, that's about all I have to add. So
There's one other thing. Let me just say one thing quick, and that is that I think that being able to, like Brian said, I don't know if it's boundaries that he set, and we haven't talked about this. We probably could and should, but the whole idea of boundaries being healthy, I mean, you brought that up in your musing, and I hadn't really gone down that road psychologically before, thinking of boundaries as I mean, it is a healthy thing, but figuring out for yourself how to do that in a healthy way, and being comfortable with it, with the situation with my mom and the ongoing 5-year long ordeal I've had with her. It's been hard for me to put personal boundaries around that. I mean, how far do I go? How much of myself do I give? And, how much do I invest? But that idea of boundaries that's huge. And I'm really glad you brought that up because I'll work on that one too.
Thank you both. I do appreciate you both being here. Brian, I love that 100-year perspective. When I was in the hotel business, one of my general managers taught me that, but it was 10 years. Like, will this matter in 10 years? And when you said 100 years, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's great. And then I can't help but be caught up in this with your left eye, like what you weren't allowing yourself to see and what you're allowing yourself to see now. It's that got me going a little bit. Okay. Love you both. I appreciate you both being here. Now, my wonderful wife, Stephanie, who made it to the call tonight. Stephanie, I have no idea because you're in another space from me. So
Hi. It's my phone. My laptop's dead.
oh yeah, here she comes. Hold on.
Chaos? Is that right? Chaos? Oh, cool. All right. Hey, everybody. I just have to say, when I first learned the 100-year thing, it was 5 years. And it changed my life. I was so dramatic about this occurrence in my life. And my friend goes, is this going to matter in 5 years? And I swear it saved me. Like, I was like, wow, it's not. I need to stop being so dramatic and move on. Like, in 5 years, it's not going to mean anything. So I love the 100-year thing also. For me, like, how to hold the high frequency in trying times is to just stay present, with like the local community, with my family, with my husband, my dog, grounding into the earth, just taking off those shoes and soaking my feet into the ground. That's always a real nice thing. As Destiny said, gratitude, like gratitude for what is going right, like, because there's always, you can always look at that cup like half empty, half full. Like, what side are you going to look at? Like, there's always going to be a level of chaos and disruption and like lack of balance. But then there's also going to be like the flip side, which is, abundance and balance and blessings. And so for me, it's really focusing on the light and not ignoring the other side of things, like, you got to know what's going on and be realistic with it, but really giving my energy and my time to the things that lift me up and make me feel happy and grounded and calm. And then, like, it's a beautiful thing because when you do that, you also can remind other people that it's okay to be grounded, happy, and calm, even though like the world can be this crazy, crazy place, you know? So gratitude, love, grounding, honoring the Mother Earth and the people in our lives is really kind of what it's about for me. So yeah, thank you all. I'm glad that I got to make it. I had to jump into Dr. Dream's computer because I am on my phone tonight and I don't know how to get the microphone to work on that thing. So thank you all very much and good night.
That was so cool. All right. Well, we are nearing the end of our circle this evening. I did have something interesting occur this morning while I was starting my day and looking at the frequency stuff and just, well, I got 5 screens here in my studio and just kind of paying attention to everything. I had this weird thought and I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't fit at all with tonight's topic, but I'm just going to bring it up because we're not done yet. I thought, when did my parents die? And so my dad and my stepmother and my mother and my little brother. I couldn't remember the dates. So I had to go online, literally go online and pull up their obituaries. And then I put it into Google Calendar and I said, I want you to remember this every year for me and let me know. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. But maybe that's why my day got weird, because that was one of my first activities and I have no idea why I did it. Both my parents passed. They weren't together, but they both passed in the month of April. And maybe, with April coming up, I don't know. Anyway, what it does bring up is what is important is that we all make the most of our relationships, our friendships, every moment of our lives, because at some point we won't be able to make the most of that because we'll be off frolicking in heaven or whatever's next. I'm sure as glorious as that will be. I often think about it that wherever we go next, wherever I go next, I will look back on this experience with a tremendous fondness for everything that I got to do here and all the people that I got to meet and all the love that I got to share. And so I think that's what I'm going to leave us with tonight. A sense of gratitude and not taking any moment for granted, and then looping back to what the actual topic was, not even taking those messy moments for granted. So again,
can I share something with you?
Yes, Phil, absolutely. We've got 10 minutes. I was just going to end early.
Well, not yet. I just wanted to share that as I'm listening to all of this, and we're this quaint little group that comes together, and so this whole thing that we do is like therapy night for me. Okay, and it is, and it's great because even though whatever I talk about, it's not coming from me like I know this stuff. It's coming from me just from words that are put out there, and apparently they're words that I need to be aware of, and that help me be a better person, and all of that. And it's really interesting and a really great thing that has been put together here, that we have this core group of people that come together and we get to share, and like I say, it's so therapeutic for me personally to be able to do this, and I walk away from it and I go, oh my gosh, that I just wanted to share that because it's really important to me. It's sort of like, okay, so what's the why? The why is what I get from all of this. It's not what I share, it's what I get. Um, and my sharing part of it is just something that comes out of my mouth, and then I go, did I say that? Um, so it's just and I wanted to thank everybody for what they do, because it's so cool for everybody that shows up, and it's a cool little group of it. Yeah. So anyhow, that's what I think.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. I really honor all of us for showing up. I mean, it takes a certain amount of courage, authenticity, transparency for us to address these topics each week and put it out there. And we're not here to bullshit each other, let alone ourselves. And it's not about, you nailed it right there. It's not about what the individual is saying. It's about it's about what I get from all of you. And it makes Monday nights very, very special for me. I want to thank you all for being here. Have a absolutely amazingly wonderful, incredible week, or whatever kind of week you decide to have. You all take care. Much love. Bye now.
Love you.
Bye now.
Much love.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.